6, the Bexar County Sheriff's deputy who attended the deadly riot at the Capitol last week is sharing her side of the story through her attorney.
Sheriff Javier Salazar turned Roxanne Mathai's Facebook posts over to the FBI. The sheriff says she was already on leave for a separate situation.
Tonight, we are hearing from Mathai's lawyer about exactly what she was doing at the Capitol.
As the chaos unfolded outside the U.S. Capitol last week, a lieutenant with the Bexar County Detention Center captured what was happening around her on social media. Roxanne Mathai, an admitted ardent Trump supporter, said even though she was at the rally, she didn't participate in the breach on the Capitol and was compliant with federal officers.
She was an excited Trump supporter at a historical rally, and as everybody does these days on social media, she posted pictures of herself and her excitement on the way.
Later that evening, Mathai condemned the violence on her Facebook page.
You can see she's still far away. She's taking pictures of people putting the American flag up. So she's unaware of the bedlam that's going on inside. She's unaware people are being assaulted.
But the next day, Sheriff Javier Salazar said he sent those Facebook posts to the FBI to determine if any crimes were committed. But Mathai's attorney, Hector Cortez, said the sheriff has no evidence that Mathai committed any crimes.
Sheriff Salazar cannot articulate any actions that would be interpreted as activities rising to reasonable suspicion of criminal activity.
We're talking to Mathai's attorney tonight because when Mathai returned from D.C. Friday, Cortez said BCSO forced her to sign a non-disclosure agreement, preventing her from telling her side of the story herself.
The threat of her losing her career and her livelihood is used over her head because she's not allowed to defend herself.
Vanessa Croy, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
Last week, the sheriff announced Mathai was on administrative leave for allegations of an inappropriate relationship with an inmate. Her attorney says the incident is better described as inappropriate communication with an inmate, and she reported that incident right after it happened. We reached out to BCSO for a response. Officials said in a statement that the discipline case is ongoing and that they are cooperating with federal authorities for any criminal case.